Hello, hello, hello. Give you guys a few minutes to log on. What? What? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for logging on. I'm gonna give a few more minutes for more people to come in. I am Ms. Empower. Oh gosh. If you would like to, you can type in hello or something you might want to say to me so I know who's out there today. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you have been watching for the first two parts. So tonight we're going to move into part 3 of Let's Talk About Manipulation. We have talked about part 1 and part 2. I'm going to recap just a little bit on part 1 and part 2 and then jump into part 3. If you want to see the full video from part 1, it is out there on my YouTube channel. Also, I have been talking about how I listen to SoapStream. It just kind of helps me meditate a little bit and just think more positive. It helps to change my mindset and my thinking. Um, if it was in a negative mindset, it automatically goes to positive. It just helps you in so many ways. And I have that linked in the description. And you can just click on that. We have 2 more minutes for a few more people to log on, and then I will go ahead and get started. Hey, cousin, how are you today? Thanks for logging on with me tonight for part 3 of Let's Talk About Manipulation. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I am Ms. Empower, and this is a place for healthy conversations. 1 second. I don't like my lighting on this one side. Seems a little off. See if that makes a difference. Maybe it needs to be turned that way. Okay, I have to play around with that another time. Hopefully it'll be better next week. So this is a place for healthy conversations where we have conversations on Tuesdays for Let's Talk About It Tuesday. Normally, the topics I come up with is something that was sent to me by one of my empowered friends. I give you guys the opportunity to suggest things. You can always send your suggestions to Ms., and that's MZZ as in zebra, EMPOWER at gmail.com. So it's Ms. Empower at gmail.com. Also, you can go to my Facebook page at Kim Empower, and you can go to my inbox and put your information in there if you would like, or Instagram at Ms. Empower. It's always great to have suggestions. I'm actually looking for some for um, 2 weeks after this week, when we will be stepping into a new topic. So I like to start my Let's Talk About It Tuesday with this serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen. So that is the serenity prayer. And I like to do that every week because the different topics that we talk about, we're really dealing with topics that have to do with everyday life, things that we have to struggle through, um, that we've just experienced through life that weren't probably was not the easiest thing to deal with. And you may not have ever had the opportunity to talk about it, and or maybe no one talked about it at all. And so this is just something you've been holding on to. And I just feel like this segment gives us the opportunity to hear other people discuss it, so that you could understand, man, when I went through that, or while I am going through that, I am feeling that, I'm experiencing that. I'm not sure how to handle it. I'm not sure how I should feel. Oh, wow, I have been feeling like that. I didn't know that I should be feeling like that. I was questioning myself. So it's that type of thing. And you are more than welcome to join in the discussion in the chat. And once we get more people chatting with us, I will start to try to open it up where you guys can come on and talk with me. So I want to try to maybe once a month open it up to to YouTube and Instagram, or either YouTube and Facebook at the same time, just to give more people the opportunity to get whatever the topic is that we're talking about, and we can just learn from one another. So this is our little community, and I call you guys my Empower friends. For those of you that are new to the channel, make sure that you hit subscribe and hit that bell so that every time I upload a video or get ready to go live, you'll get that notification. So tonight we are on the part 3 of Let's Talk About Manipulation. So the first part, we define manipulation, and we talked about the stages of manipulation. And when I discuss manipulation, I am talking about the toxic manipulation. Now, last week we had a question that I will address tonight as well, whether or not manipulation could be a good or positive thing. So I'm going to address that this week. And so each week when we get ready to finish the segment, make sure you type in the comments any questions that you want me to address on the next one. Okay. So we know that manipulation is when someone does something to take control of someone else. They play mind games with someone just so they can be in control of them. That is what manipulation is. It's taking control of them and getting them to do exactly what it is that they want them to do. So I don't know why my computer sounds so loud. So we talked about the 4 stages with that. So we talked about the targeting stage, when that person is just really trying to feel you out, get to know your ins and outs, what it takes to make you tick, you know, um, and trying to get really close to you, gain your trust so that they can become your friend. And that's where they move into the next stage, which is the friend forming stage. And in that stage, they really make you think that they are your best friend and that they are really there for you. They're your support system. They love you. They'll do anything for you. They buy you gifts. They do all these different things that they think that they should do in order to pull you in to think that you are so important to them, because they're getting you prepared for the next stage, which is the relationship forming stage. And I'm sorry, the love, what is it? Is it the love? Yeah, the loving relationship stage. And that is where you would think it's loving, but it's not. They actually pull back and become distant. And I'm sorry, guys, I keep messing with this light because it doesn't seem right tonight. Um, I'm wondering if it's this one. Okay. So in that loving relationship stage, they, make themselves distant. They start making you question yourself, like, what have I done? Because this is not how they normally act. So I must have done something, so that makes you start doing different things that they want because you want them to be happy again. You want them to go back. It's almost like a drug. Like what I've heard about addiction, the first time that you take the drug, you get this overwhelming, great feeling. And I was told you will never get it again. And it's like people keep doing it and doing it and doing it, doing it because they are trying to get that feeling all over again. So that is what happens. It's like the partner that's not being the partner that's being manipulated, they're trying to get this person back to who they used to be with them because they really think it had to be something that they have done. So the manipulator does everything in their power not to show them that love. And if they do, it's like they turn it on for a minute, then they turn it back off because they're keeping you guessing. So they're hot and they're cold and are getting you ready for that next stage, and that is the abusive relationship stage. And that is where you receive that emotional and mental abuse. And if you stay long enough, it'll turn into physical abuse. So those are the stages we talked about. We talked about the definition, and that was all a part of part one. Part two, we talked about the signs and different things that you would want to look out for. Um, and you can type in the chat if you have a question or want to say anything about what I've already said. So we talked about the conversational tactics that they do, which is the gaslighting. We'll talk about that again today because, like I said, that is a tactic. And we're going to talk about tactics, relationship, the manipulative relationship tactics. That's what we're talking about today in part three. So, so we talked about the gaslighting. We talked about the love bombing. And that is where they pretty much distract you and throw you off by, they just did this to you or they just said this to you. But, baby, let's go to dinner, you know, or, oh, baby, I bought you this, to throw you off. So you'll stay and you'll keep taking it, you know. Um, okay, I was about to skip everything. Um, I think I didn't have these in order from last week. I'm missing a page. Oh, okay. So we also talked about the unhealthy compromise. These are the different signs. Um, the fear of abandonment from the person, like you don't want them to leave you, so you just go ahead and do whatever it is that you think that they want you to do. um so the compromise is on the person who's being manipulated, because the manipulator is never going to compromise and never going to hold themselves accountable for anything. We talked about the gut feeling that you have. If you have that gut feeling, hey, you better follow it. Okay, don't second guess yourself. Making you feel bad about yourself, um, and make trying to get you in a state of being insecure about who you are, so that you'll be codependent on them. Which takes us into codependency, where they want you to depend on them and only them. They make you think that nobody else cares. You don't need anybody. You only need them. To They keep comparing you to others. You know, just really, really trying to browbeat you. And it's basically browbeating you into submission, and just trying to make you feel really, really bad about you. So you'll think, oh, well, they love me, and they are all I have. So I'm just going to do what they say, whatever it is to make them happy, because I don't like it when they are not happy. You really stop thinking about yourself. Um, they've managed to get your family on their side. That's a really big red flag, when they start talking against you to your family, so that if you ever had to go to your family, they wouldn't be there for you. They wouldn't support you, because they would continue talking to you about how good of a person this person is, because they're not seeing what they do. Um, so they're just wanting to isolate you from your family. So those were the signs that we talked about. So that's pretty much summing up part one and part two. So now I'm going to jump into part three. Before I do that, though, I just want to give you guys some information real quick. Um, there are four things that a toxic person does, and that is defend, deflect, deny, and diminish. Right? It's the four D's: defend, deflect, deny, and diminish. Always remember that. They're always going to defend what they said, or they're going to deflect and turn it back on you and get off of what they said. They're going to deny what they said, or they're going to diminish what you are saying to them. What you're saying does not mean anything. They will diminish it. So always remember that. A toxic person, you look out for that. They're either going to defend, deflect, deny, or diminish, and it's all about them. It's not about you. So let's jump into part three, where we're talking about manipulation in relationships. So we talked about how manipulation is about mind games. It's about using it to seize the power in the relationship, right? To be in control of everything when it comes down to you. Like, you can't be in control of them and what they do, but they're going to have complete control over you. So you need to definitely open your eyes and watch out for that. So let me ask you guys a question. Have you ever had a friend who was in a relationship with someone, and you just did not like that person because you just felt like they were the most manipulative person, like you saw things that your friend did not see? Sometimes that's the case, but then sometimes that manipulator is so good, he fools or she fools your family, your friends. They think that you got a good one, right? So until you get behind, and that's really scary because until you get behind closed doors with that person and be with them for a while, you'll never know what you have actually stepped into. Very important that you keep your eyes open to who you are dealing with and write stuff down. Um, One thing is for sure, not every person that manipulates people manipulates the same way, right? So it's not a one size fits all. It's different people do different things, so I can't necessarily say um, that every person is going to do this. That's why I'm giving you a lot of different things to look for. And it is a lot. It's a lot to look for. So some will start with, the controlling ways and the intimidation. They will try to intimidate you into believing that you should just do whatever they say or they want. That's what you should do. Um, then we have those who do the lying, the guilt trips, like we talked about before with the signs in part two. The omission. So they lie, but they lie by not telling you things, right? They lie through omission. They deny everything. They don't hold themselves accountable for anything. It's your fault before it's theirs. Um, and then they are very passive aggressive. So I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that or has ever been that where you were just passive. You just keep letting stuff go on, just keep letting stuff go on until you don't, until you just snap and you're very calm about it until you just feel like, okay, I'm not going to be calm about it anymore. I'm getting ready to deal with this, and you're explosive. And that can be very dangerous to someone. You want to pay attention to toxic manipulation that can be led to abuse, because there's a lot of, and I don't just mean emotional and mental, I mean physical as well, because that comes. And I don't know if right now you're watching and you are in a manipulated relationship with someone and they're not abusing you physically and you can't see them doing that. Hey, don't you put anything past anybody. If you're in that type of relationship, you should be trying to make your way out. um and I think that because Sherelle says that she was passive at one point in time. And I was too. I think there are so many of us that have been passive in our lives, and it's not good to be passive. Um, I think there were times in my life where I definitely wasn't passive. Like the moment you did something, I let you know about it. But then as I started working on myself, and I was just telling a friend this, when I started working on myself, trying to be a better person, I let stuff go because I was like, you know what, I don't want to deal with that because I don't want to go and be who I used to be. I really don't want to see her. I'm not interested in being her anymore. But it's almost like people pick up on that and they will continue to do things to you because they think you're not going to say anything. And that goes on until one day you decide, okay, I'm done. I'm going to say something. And you may say some things that are not the nicest, which you were trying to avoid in the first place. But a person that is passive aggressive, like they have that big explosion, and you never know what's coming from that. People can get harmed from that because they held that for so long. I'm sure we all have experienced that at one point in our lives where we were passive aggressive or just passive about stuff. Because some things For me, I'll say, you know what, that's not even worth me even dealing with, Um, so yeah, I work hard at that. But one thing about it, and I know this is not our subject, you have the right to be upset by something that someone said or did to you. You have the right to address it if you need to. Um, but just don't hold on to it long. You deal with it and you just keep moving. But you have the right to be angry. And I think I felt like I didn't have the right to, because in the past, when I would get angry, it wasn't the nicest thing. So, okay, so let's keep it moving. So, when we start talking about tactics, we're talking about strategies, different things that the person who is manipulating the other person, they have these different tactics slash strategies in place that they do to get their way. So we're going to jump into those really quick. So we talked about one of them earlier, and that was gaslighting. So with the gaslighting, that keeps you from believing your reality. What you could have just sat there and looked at the person do that, but they basically made you feel like you didn't know what you was talking about. Like you was tripping. You didn't see that, you know. And a really good manipulator will have you uh really thinking about whether you saw it or not, even though you were just looking at it. Then we have the constantly changing the goalposts. So with that, the goalposts are rules of engagement that have been put in place by you and your partner, and they decide in the midst of it, they're going to change it without even talking to you, right? And what they do is when they change it in the midst of it, it's making you look like you did something wrong when you didn't, because they changed the rules of engagement without talking to you. So I have an example of this. And if you disagree, let me know. But this is what came to mind for me. So let's say my partner, let's say I decided I wanted to go on a girls' trip. And my partner was like, oh, go ahead, enjoy your girls. And while I'm on my trip with my girls, they decide they don't want me there. So when I come home, I am cheating. I am, I'm moving like I'm single. I am doing all these things according to them because I went on this trip, right? That we both agreed was okay for me to do. Okay. So that is um an example of changing the goalpost, and I experienced that a lot in a relationship that I was in, and I was just like, what? Okay, so let me give you another one and you let me know. um so let's say me and a partner go somewhere together and we run into some people that I know. And so I want to take a picture with them, with my partner, but my partner doesn't want to take a picture with me, and they keep encouraging me to go take pictures with my people that I know. And so I go over to take the picture, and then the next day I am told that I really didn't want them there with me, because if I did, they would have been in the picture with us. Yeah. Yeah, the change. Just that quick, like to make you feel like you have done something wrong. Like you just told me you didn't want to, you rather I go do this, that, yeah. Okay, so let's keep it moving, guys. Um, Demanding intense loyalty or secrecy. Like they want you to not talk about anything. Like um they demand that you keep y'all relationship on the low. Like nobody needs to know about this. Like that's a red flag. Something's wrong. Something's seriously wrong. If you could think of another example of that, um, so if you told somebody else then that you're not being loyal to them because that was supposed to be a secret. Forcing you to withhold major news from people you love, that's pretty much the same thing as what I just talked about with the intense loyalty and secrecy. Inconsistent streams of communication, including ghosting. Angela gave us an example. That's one of our empowered friends about that last week. And I was unable to find that comment. So she's not on here today because it's her birthday. So maybe next week I'll get her to um, put that in the comments again so we can discuss that again. But that was a perfect example how the person that she was talking to, ghosted her. And they were very like inconsistent on their communication with her. Um, so it includes ghosting, lies by omission, and selective memory. Like they don't remember that they said. When people do that, it's so funny to me. I just, it's frustrating, but it's silly, because you can't believe that you're actually dealing with someone that is like this. Refusing to compromise, the compromise is always on the person who's being manipulated. Um, because the person who is the manipulator, they're never going to compromise and they're never going to hold themselves accountable for anything, down to the point of when you would probably question them about being accountable, they will probably make up a whole different meaning of what being accountable means. That's how deep it is. Um, Always speaking in absolutes, never allowing for a middle ground. Like they know it all. Like it's absolutely this, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. It's not going to be anything else. And that kind of goes back to the compromise. Like it's going to be absolutely this or that. There's no middle ground at all. At all. Lack of empathy. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because any person, let's go back to the stages, the 4 stages, and we talked about the targeting stage. So they usually kind of come in and target people that are vulnerable, going through something, that's just not being empathetic at all. Do you see that this person is already dealing with something? Why would you come in and pile some stuff on top of that, and try to take advantage of this person and mistreat them? No, you're not empathetic in any type of way. You don't give a care, but you want this person, you're going to control them and make them put you first, your thoughts first, your everything, for everything about you is first. And nothing about you is first. It's all about the manipulator. The person that's being manipulated, they lose. They take a L every time. Dehumanizing words or behaviors, just saying anything, and doing anything that they want to continue to like browbeat you. Because during this whole time, that's all that they're doing. Like in the beginning of the first 2 stages, that's where you get the niceness, because they are targeting you. They are trying to create a connection with you so that they could get in and get control. Um, Downplaying others' distress. So anything that somebody else is going through, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. That goes back to them not being empathetic. Uh, Crafting situations to always and only benefit one side, which is their side. Everything is, like I said, about them. Selfishness and lots of I statements. So, like we said, everything is about this particular person. And when I say the manipulator, I am never meaning that the manipulator is always one particular gender, because it can be female or male. That's the manipulator. And I really do want to dive into that in the last segment, where we kind of give some examples of different things from where women manipulate men. So I'm looking for those things. So I will let you know next week if I'm able to produce that for you. Uh, Mood swings. Woo, woo. They're hot and they're cold. Now that you'll start to see that in the loving relationship stage. Like, it's that hot and cold, that up and down. Like, you from one day or from one moment to the next, you don't know what you're gonna have. You know, one day or that night, y'all was good, but the next morning you got a whole different person, with these mood swings. And you're literally questioning yourself, like, okay, did we have an argument last night? Did I say something? Did I kick them in the sleep? Did I take all the covers? You're questioning yourself, because it absolutely makes no sense. You're trying to figure out, why is their mood different today, or this next moment, or 10 minutes later. It's that type of thing. Um, Love bombing, just a minute ago, they just said all this negative stuff to you. Yes, 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 yes. They just said all this negative stuff to you. And 2 days later, let's go to dinner. They want to go and do something with you. And you're just looking like, what? Like, that goes back to those mood swings. But the love bombing is, they're trying to distract you from what they've just done or said to you. So if I do all of this, then they'll be okay. And so that's the love bombing. Um, Hold on. Okay. Charm. They turn on that charm, because they know. And this is like in the beginning stages, in the targeting stage and the friend forming stage. That's when you see this charm, because they know that this person wants somebody to be attracted to them, or they want to feel attractive. So they turn on the charm, so that's just to manipulate. And it's not to say that that person's not attractive. It's just that that person that's manipulating does not care. They're just in for one reason, and that is to play the mind games so that they can control you. Then the why am I not being able to pronounce this word tonight? And I just said it. Oh my God. It's Coercion. For whatever reason, I can't say it tonight. I just said it when I was upstairs. But it's using fear of harm or threats. So you're coerced. Still feel like it didn't come out right. Into doing something out of fear because you don't want to be harmed, and they've threatened you. So you're gonna do whatever it takes, right? So that they'll be okay, they'll be cool, and you'll be safe. But you're still not if you're still in that leaving yourself in that situation with someone. Silent treatment, you'll get that silent treatment. And for those of you that just logged on with us, we're in part 3 of Let's Talk About Manipulation. And so I recapped part 1 and part 2, but you can go back and watch those videos from the last 2 weeks. And we're tonight diving into manipulation in a relationship. So we're talking about the tactics and what else did I say? Hold on, guys. Oh, the tactics and the strategies that are used by the manipulator to, you know, to take control of this person and just have them doing whatever they want them to do. So, silent treatment, they give you the silent treatment because it's a punishment, and it will make the person that's being manipulated go ahead and say, you know what, I'm tired of the silent treatment. So I'm going to just do whatever it is that they want me to do so that we could be okay. Right. So these are things that you start to see in the loving relationship stage, because they become distant from you. They start pulling themselves back from you. And so being quiet and not talking to you is how they punish you. That's their MO. When they use logic to make you do exactly what they want you to do, that's considered reason. Regression, that is when they'll actually cry or pout or throw a tantrum because you didn't do whatever it is that they tried to make you do. I will say I experienced that before in a relationship, and it just made me lose so much respect for that particular person, and it made my eyes just so wide. I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, you know, to see a grown person acting like that. You're crying and you're whining and you're pouting and throwing a tantrum. Like, but think about it. We throw tantrums all the time as adults when we become abusive towards someone. We go slashing tires of someone that we're upset with, busting out windows. That's a tantrum. So self abasement. So that's when a manipulator humbles themselves just so they can make it seem that they are just still in love with you and they'll do anything for you. And so since they humbled themselves, now you will go ahead and do whatever it is that they wanted you to do because you saw them humble themselves. You all can definitely put comments in the chat and questions. Hardball definitely takes it further, where there is physical abuse involved because you didn't do or you won't do whatever it is that they want you to do. Pleasure induction. It convinces the other person that the action will be enjoyable if they do it. If you do this, it's okay. You're going to enjoy it, but the person does not want to do it, but they're trying to make them do it. It's all about having control. Social comparison theory is when, the manipulator basically is comparing the person that's being manipulated to someone else that this person probably looks up to and says, they're basically like, well, so and so will do that for their person, I don't understand why you're not doing it, and that a lot of times will get that person to do it because they just compared them to somebody else that they look up to. Um, then the monetary reward, like the manipulator may give money or buy gifts and stuff like that. And they feel like if they do that, then that's going to allow them to control the manipulator. So they can say and do whatever they want to as long as they are giving them money and buying them gifts. That is like the way to get them to be quiet and just go along with it and not fuss about it. So those were all the tactics and strategies that I had for you guys tonight when we are starting to talk about the different things that the manipulator will do just to gain control and to get their way, because it's all about them getting their way. As I told earlier, for those of you that did not, that was not on here before, that you'll see 4 different D's from the toxic person. And that is, hold on, guys, so I can make sure I get all of them. Defend, you'll see them defend, deflect, deny, or diminish. And all of this will be just for them to be in control. Yeah. Let me make sure. So last week, we had someone to ask the question if manipulation could be positive or could it be good? And so in my research, I came up with some things where it could possibly be viewed as positive, but not in a relationship. There was nothing that I could find that was positive about manipulation in a relationship. Everything about that was negative. But when we start talking about manipulation being good or positive, and you would have to view it on your own and say that it was positive or it was good, because it might not be for everybody. So this is what I had. And if you have something, you can definitely type it in the comments. So, such as getting your children to eat vegetables, you manipulate them to eat those vegetables because you want them to be healthy. So, you may do little things to get them to eat it. And it might not, it may be something like maybe cover it with some um applesauce or something like that, but you're still manipulating it because you're doing something to make sure that your child eats these vegetables, right? um and then let's say another example I had was your employer may want a project done, and so they tell you to stay over and work overtime, right? And even though it's taking extra time out your day, you're getting paid time and a half for staying to work that project. So you get the extra money and your employer gets what they want. They wanted the project done. So I see that as manipulation and I see that as a positive. Um, Sometimes the overtime thing can not necessarily be a positive, especially if it's mandatory. Like it's different if you are asked to do it, but and you make the decision you want to do it. But when it's mandatory, I don't really see that as positive. But you let me know what you think. So that's what I came up with for positive manipulation. But I absolutely couldn't find anything that was positive about manipulation in a relationship. If there is something that you come up with, please send it to my email at msempower@gmail.com or on my Facebook at Kim Empower, on my Instagram at Ms. Empower. So you can go in my inboxes on those too. If you have not subscribed yet to my page, go ahead and subscribe and don't forget to hit that bell So the next time that I upload a video or go live, you'll get a notification. You won't miss out on it. What time do we have, guys? So we have 10 minutes left. Are there any questions? Are there any comments? I am going to say this because I usually end with saying something to someone that may be in the position of being manipulated by their partner. And as I said before, it's not gender specific. Um, it can happen with a male or a female. And I don't care whether it's a male or a female, it's wrong. If you are putting someone through the ringer by being a manipulator, because that is exactly what you're doing. You're draining their emotions, which starts to drain their physical abilities. It's like they physically can't do this and that because they are drained, they are stressed, they become depressed, and it's really hard for so many people to come out of that. So if you are watching and you are a manipulator, that is what you do to get your way, and you don't see any other way around it. Take the time to start to work on yourself. Take the time to do therapy because there is a reason why you are doing that. Pray to God and ask Him to start showing you why you are the way that you are. And you don't have to feel embarrassed about it. I have been through it. Um, I had to work on myself, and I had to go to therapy to become a better person. And prayer was at the head of everything that I did. Once I started praying and I got into a certain position, then I was able to do the therapy because now I can hear and get the tools that I need to continue moving forward, and I can continue working on myself. So I want that for whoever is out there that is manipulating their partner or manipulating their children, manipulating their coworkers, their staff, whoever, it's not a great thing. Um, if you are the person who is being manipulated, I just want you to know that it's important that you continue feeding your mind with positivity. I have a link out there for SoakStream, and that just they have so many different videos out there, and you can choose which one you would want to listen to. But it continues to pour into your mind, and feed your mind with positivity because you have to change the way you are thinking in order to come out of that situation a healthy and healed person. Another thing that I suggest, and I talk about it every week, is meditation. I have a meditation video on my YouTube page where I am guiding you through the process. It's about 9 minutes long. Um, and I'm just walking you through the process just so you can understand how to do it on your own, where you can just listen to the meditation music or listen to some water, and it walks you through the process. And I'm just here to tell you that you are not alone. So many other people out here are going through the same thing. I hope that the videos that I have posted really help you during this time and give you the courage to walk away, because it takes courage to say, this is not for me. I'm not going to deal with this. I don't have to deal with this. I am worthy of so much more. And just want you to know that you are amazing. Do not look down on you because you are in that situation. Do not blame yourself because you are in that situation, because that does not help. You are just looking at what you can do to feed your mind to heal so that you can move forward. But you won't be able to completely heal until you remove yourself from the situation. So, guys, I appreciate all of you for taking your time to log on tonight and listen to what I had to say about manipulation in relationships. I appreciate you every week for just supporting Again, I asked earlier if there's any topic that you would like to hear. Please make sure that you send that to me, and that way I can, let you guys know exactly when we will talk about that, so you'll be available for that. Um, I know there was one more thing I wanted to say. You're so welcome, Real. Goodness, I had lost my train of thought just that fast, but um, okay, so we definitely have one more week of this. I wanted to do 5 parts. I'm going to see because there's something I'm working on with this to see if I can find this information. I like to come with good information that you guys can take with you and apply it to your lives. Please make sure that you continue to pour into yourself. Even if you're not going through anything right now, because you never know what lies ahead. Life can throw you a curveball in a minute. I'm telling you. Um, I feel like if you continue pouring into you, no matter what you go through, you will always come out on top, and you will always come out healthy because you continue to work on yourself. So I'm just trying to see because sometimes, okay. So, with that being said, guys, this has been a place for healthy conversations. I am Ms. Empower, and I can't wait to talk to you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week and enjoy your weekend.